Now, KWWL Sports.
Well, the Iowa football team is less than 2 weeks away from competing in the Citrus Bowl against Tennessee on New Year's Day. However, the question on the minds of many extends well beyond that, looking towards next year, specifically who will return and who will leave for the NFL. Yesterday, some players provided a little bit of clarity as to where they're at with their decision. In particular, several defensive standouts are considering returning for the Hawkeyes. Likely the biggest name with the decision to make is cornerback Cooper DeJean. The Iowa native and product of OAB-CIG High School was named a unanimous All-American this past season. DeJean finished the year with 41 tackles and 2 interceptions, while also returning a punt for the game-winning touchdown against Michigan State. He also returned what would have been a game-winning punt for a touchdown against Minnesota before it was controversially called back for an invalid fair catch signal. DeJean is expected to be a first-round pick if he declares for the draft, but as he explained yesterday, there are some things about Iowa that make it very difficult to leave.
Around these guys, and just the team atmosphere that we have here, it's I'm playing for these coaches. These guys love the game. They love to teach the game, and they've made me a better player, over my past 3 years that I've been here.
DeJean is certainly not the only Hawkeye with a decision to make, as Jay Higgins and Sebastian Castro are both still unsure at this point if they'll return or go pro as the Hawkeyes close in on the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. And in high school girls basketball tonight, Class 2A's top-ranked Dyke New Hartford, this year trying to make it 4 straight state titles, was looking to continue their hot start, hosting AGWSR. The Wolverines have consistently been a girls basketball powerhouse, while AGWSR is off to a 6-1 start this season. Well, Peyton Peterson takes it hard to the basket for the Wolverines and finishes inside. The Louisville volleyball signee continues the offense for DNH. Very next possession, Peterson proves she can pass as well, finding Marin Bixby inside as the senior finishes the layup, and the Wolverines extend their lead. Josie Cooper will get the Cougars back on the board. She takes the ball down low, finishes over a couple of defenders, trying to start the comeback bid, but the Wolverines would keep the foot on the gas as Bixby turns defense into offense, taking it coast to coast after the steal as the Wolverines continue to pull away. And tonight, Dyke New Hartford proved why they are ranked #1, running away from a very solid AGWSR team on the way to a 62-27 victory as the Wolverines continue their strong start. And over in Cedar Falls, the Tigers were back in action, hosting the Western Dubuque Bobcats. Early on, some great ball movement sets up Jordan Townsend for a 3 from the corner, and the junior knocks it down, giving the Tigers an early lead. The Tigers would look to run in transition as well as Aiden Heth finds Anthony Galvin, who does the rest, getting inside and laying it in off the glass to extend that Cedar Falls lead. But the Bobcats, they wouldn't quit. With the shot clock winding down, Colin McDermott drains a 3 from way downtown as Western Dubuque starts to close the gap. And right before the end of the quarter, Canyon Bright puts it in off the glass from deep as the Bobcats pull within 5 after a quarter. And the Bobcats would stick with the Tigers all night, but in the end, they couldn't quite get it done as Cedar Falls gets the victory, 60-54 the final. They move to 4-1 on the season. Stick around. We'll be right back.
But we'll start with David Warrington live in Cleveland. So, David, tell us what the atmosphere is like there now, just hours from tip-off.
We're on in Elizabeth. The time is nearly here. In just a matter of minutes, South Carolina and NC State will tip off the opening game of tonight's Final Four. And as we saw just a short time ago at the Hawkeye Huddle, plenty of Iowa fans have made the trip here to Cleveland, and they're ready to cheer on the Hawks. Now, the Ivy in Cleveland was home to the Hawkeye Huddle a short time ago, and Iowa fans packed the place, getting ready to cheer on their team tonight against UConn. And it wasn't just Iowa fans, as some former big-name Iowa Hawkeye athletes were also in attendance, including all-time Hawkeye great, former offensive lineman Robert Gallery.
It's very exciting. It's to be at this level for these women. It's what this program's done. But that's just Iowa in general. That's the way our friends have always been. But when you get to this level of competition like these women have done, of course they're going to show up.
UConn may have much more experience with this round, as this is their 23rd Final Four trip compared to just the 3rd for Iowa. Despite this, the Iowa fans are very confident and they're ready to cheer their team on when the game tips off in just a couple of hours. And the time for talk is nearly over here in Cleveland, as Iowa and UConn will tip off tonight in just a matter of hours after the conclusion of the opening matchup between South Carolina and North Carolina State. Mark Woodley will have more ahead of this Final Four bout coming up tonight in sports. Live in Cleveland, David Warrington, News 7 KWWL. Well, for the final time in 2023, the Iowa Hawkeyes entered Kinnick Stadium today, this time looking to clinch the outright championship in the Big Ten West. The Hawkeyes were looking to honor their seniors in style on this senior day, as the Hawks were looking to clinch a trip to Indianapolis in the Big Ten championship game. The Hawkeye defense came to play early as Joe Evans forces the fumble in the end zone. The Illini would fall on it, but the Hawkeyes were on the board with the safety. The Illini would respond as kicker Caleb Griffin nails a 52-yard field goal, giving Illinois a 3-2 lead after a quarter. The Iowa offense would find the end zone in the second quarter, with Deacon Hill connecting with Addison Ostrenga in the corner of the end zone as the Hawks take a 9-3 lead. Again, the Illini would respond. This time it's Reggie Love punching it in from a yard out as Illinois takes a 10-9 lead into the break. On the first play of the fourth quarter, Griffin knocks in another field goal, this time from 29 yards for a 13-9 Illinois lead. Finally, the Iowa offense would bounce back. Caleb Johnson breaks away and sprints 30 yards into the end zone for a go-ahead Iowa touchdown with less than 5 minutes to play.
I just saw green grass. I just ran. That's my thing. When I see green grass, I run. So, saw green grass, took off, run, scored. That was it.
The Illini had one more shot, but the ball gets batted down on fourth down, and the Hawkeyes hold on for a 15-13 victory. And after all the adversity Iowa's faced this year, they are headed back to the Big Ten championship.
Just being able to battle through adversity. I think for us it was just an improvement-driven team. Every single day we came into work, and just so proud of those guys. It was every single day, you know. We had that, 12-10 loss against Minnesota, and it was the same stuff, same thing. We just kept working and working and working, and we're so proud of these guys.
And as we have said week in and week out this season, this was not a pretty win for the Hawkeyes, but it is their 9th win of the year, and pretty or not, they are headed back to Indianapolis. In Iowa City, David Warrington, News 7 KWWL.
Man football tonight, unbeaten Clarksville playing host to a Turkey Valley team that is looking to make some noise in a good first-round matchup. Joining us to talk about this one is David Warrington. And you saw a good game, but I think something different happened after you left.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know I love my 8-man football. There's always no shortage of highlights when you send me out for an 8-man game. So this was a fun one here tonight as well. Now, 4th-ranked Clarksville, they have won more games than any other team in 8-man football. The Indians come with a perfect 9-0 record. They are the District 4 champions. Turkey Valley, they entered the postseason with a 5-3 record, finishing 4th in District 3. Now, the Indians were looking to protect their home field tonight and continue their perfect season. Well, Turkey Valley, they were trying to play spoiler after just managing to sneak into the playoffs. On just the second play of the game, McCade Bloker drops back to pass, plays his one perfectly for Sam Hudger, who could have nearly walked into the end zone. The junior finds himself wide open and scores to give the Indians an early 6-0 lead. Now check out this strategy from Turkey Valley. They break the huddle and they just wait. Tonight they were trying to waste as much time as they could. On this possession, it works. Oliver Schmidt bounces off of one tackle, finds all the space he needs, crossing the goal line to tie the game at 6 apiece in the first quarter. Now the Indians, well, they would waste no time responding. We saw Bloker can pass. Well, he can certainly run as well. He takes it 53 yards, stiff-arming a Trojan on his way to the end zone to get Clarksville back on the board, taking a 12-6 lead. Now coming up here on 4th down and 8, the Trojans will go for it from the 12. Logan Busta finds J.D. Cruz, who just manages to cross the goal line. Then he gets fired up. With the conversion, the Trojans take a 14-12 lead early on in the second quarter. Now for Clarksville, Bloker is back at it, bouncing off of tacklers. He just refuses to go down. He'll finally get dragged down out of bounds at the 1-yard line. That would set up this run right up the middle by Owen Backer, plunging into the end zone and getting the Indians back on top in this back-and-forth affair, 20-14. For the Trojans, they would punch back again. Logan Busta drops one off to Burke Busta, who has plenty of room. Busta has a foot race down the sideline. He almost wins it, getting dragged down just short of the goal line, there at about the 2-yard line. Schmidt would finish it off for the Trojans, falling over the goal line to tie the game at 20 midway through the second quarter, ending a streak of 3 touchdowns in about 3 minutes of game time. But Clarksville, they would have the last laugh in the first half as Backer scores his second touchdown of the half. The Indians would go to the break with a 28-20 advantage over the Trojans. Now, the scoring would slow down in the second half, but only for one of these teams. The Indians rolled in the second half on the way to a dominant 68-26 victory. After a bit of a scary first half, Clarksville moves to 10-0 on the season. They'll look to make it 11-0 next week in the second round. And now, credit where it's due, the Trojans, they put that game plan together. They executed very well in the first half, but I think Clarksville showed why they're one of the best teams in 8-man football in the second half and really just ran away with it.
They kind of wear you down, don't they? I mean, they scored 40 points in the second half. They were only up 8 at halftime. I mean, that's obviously this team is well put together.
I mean, you see the way McCade Bloker runs the football. It's going to get exhausting trying to bring him down. You saw the stiff arms. He's a load to bring down when he's out there, and I'm sure that'll get to you after quarter after quarter.
Watch out, 8-man football. Clarksville is alive and well. Thank you, David.
The day of semifinal action concluded in Class 1A, and at 106, the freshman phenom Hayden Schwab stayed perfect on the year, cruising to a 10-0 decision over Atlee DeWitt of Alburnett. He'll have a chance to end his freshman season a state champion.
I know how hard I've worked for this, and I mean, I don't want to say like I expected it, but I mean, I have expectations for myself, and I mean, I kind of came in here thinking that's what I was going to do.
At 113, Gavin Landers of Denver put together a strong performance and held on for a 3-0 decision victory. At 120, the best name in wrestling, Rowdy Neighbor, punched his ticket to the finals as the Alburnett standout cruised to a 9-1 victory. It'll be an all-Eastern Iowa final at 132 as North Butler Clarksville's Tanner Argis picks up the fall, while Don Bosco's Dawson Youngblood picks up a 3-1 decision. It was a battle at 144, and Denver's Bowden White just snuck past South Winnesheek's Colin Holm to earn a spot in the championship. While at 150, Starmont's Keaton Moeller was in control throughout on the way to a 10-3 victory. At 157, Kyler Knack of Don Bosco continued his season-long dominance, securing a pinfall and a chance to win back-to-back state titles. At 175, it took sudden victory, but both Knack brothers will be in the finals as Caden Knack secures the takedown to advance to the championship. At 190, McCade Bloker of North Butler Clarksville will compete for a state title as he takes down Don Bosco's Landon Fernandez 5-1 to advance. At 215 pounds, Maquoketa Valley's Brady Davis is advancing after a 5-1 victory, and it'll be an all-Eastern Iowa heavyweight final as both Mason Knipp of Waterloo Columbus and Logan Wright of West Branch will be in the championship. In Des Moines, David Warrington, News 7 KWWL. Here at Orchard Hill Park in Cedar Falls, they already have 8 pickleball courts, and at tonight's Cedar Falls City Council meeting, a bid could be approved to double that. For those that play this growing sport, they're excited and love to see more opportunities to play here locally. But for some living in the neighborhood, the noise is a little bit too much. There are 3 bids in total. Public Works recommends accepting the lowest one, a $389,000 bid to double the courts and expand the sport here at Orchard Hill Park. In Cedar Falls, David Warrington, News 7 KWWL.